All right, and we are live coming back at you with session 14 of our Drowned Gods campaign. And let's go ahead and get started. As always, reset your hero point pools to 1. And who would like to give the recap for an extra hero point in this game?
Oh, how's it going?
Also, Agalubu needs to read his notes, as is tradition.
Yeah. Yes. Abe is indisposed.
Nah, that sounds good to me.
Do you want to read
Agalubu? Me where the session started. I kind of remember what happened. I just don't remember what we started off at last time.
Okay, cool. Anna, why don't you read Agalubu's notes while we're waiting for Abe, and then I can...
He's back.
Alright, I'll ask if I could come in an hour earlier on the day that I'm already coming in 3 hours early.
Fine.
4 hours. 4 hours early. So now 5.
So it's 8 now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright, so not today?
No, not today.
Not
tomorrow.
today, no.
Cool.
I would have told him like nonsense.
Okay, I've got my notes. I don't think I did a super great job, but anyways, the sneaky one has a new friend who shows us this strange land. We find a crying friend and help him with mean trees. We find hat that shows I am the leader of our group in a stinky toilet. The river can clean the smell. Finds talking rocks. Fox with odd clothing and talking rock welcomes us into home with rabbit wife who has good smelling food. Sneaky one helps with the cutting of food. All members look odd. Sneaky one can climb well with frog-like hands. Strong one has fins, and the old one has feathers. The witch has the most elegant and beautiful little ears of a mouse on her head and a tail. Had yummy food with everyone.
There you go. All right, and that probably pretty much clues you into where we started, but just as a slightly more concrete reminder, we started right after you guys had fallen down into the spirit realm and decided not to pick a fight with a whale the size of a mountain.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't actually have that much to add. That was pretty comprehensive notes from Agalubu this time around.
Yeah. All right, Agalubu, give yourself a point. But yeah, that did more or less cover it. The friend of PPOP's, of course, is Ka, his spirit animal, who has been guiding you around the spirit realm. And then just to make notes of the things that you guys have collected since entering the spirit realm, in case you didn't write them down somewhere. Agalubu did get the crown out of the giant's toilet. Agalubu has been picking up talking rocks. PPOP stole a steel, like a kitchen knife. And I think that's the most of it. Agalubu also tried to steal a lighter from the fox, but did not succeed.
And the one thing we forgot is that we learned drop spinning. Ka taught me how to do drop spinning so we can make thread.
That is true also. So yeah, you're already picking up new information. Also, as Anna noted, everyone is starting to take on animalistic features based off of their spirit animal. And Manawan Nui has inexplicably is somehow already familiar with all of the quote-unquote modern trappings of the house around the fox. And yeah, I think that's pretty much the important stuff. And where we had wrapped up was that evening, just as you were all heading off to bed.
Which most of us were sleeping outside because there was not an actual room for us to sleep.
Well, the beds were too small. You can take like the stuff off the beds and sleep on the ground or the floor. I'm sure that the flooring in the house is more comfortable than what you're used to normally, even.
Yeah, I feel like Agalubu's just gonna sleep outside. He's too big. He feels claustrophobic.
Fair enough. All right. So, anything that people want to do before they head off to sleep?
I think I was outside smoking with the fox. Was I not?
You had wrapped up, so you had been out smoking pipes with the fox, but it's now late and he's turning in.
Okay.
More like Mrs. Rabbit is nagging him to come in.
That was definitely part of it.
I don't think so.
Agalubu is gonna do push-ups.
There you go. All right, so Sammy is actually able to kind of. She's like the only one who can comfortably fit in the bed. She's kind of just has her feet dangling off a little bit, but she can more or less fit. PPOP, you can use the bed if you want to curl up, kind of not quite fetal position, but close. Otherwise, you'll probably want to use the floor. Everyone else is far too large.
I'm gonna squeeze into that bed.
All right. It is so soft, and it's like sleeping on a cloud compared to what you're used to, almost to a disquieting degree.
It feels like it's trying to eat you.
Exactly. But yeah, so everyone drifts off to sleep. Um, and a little ways into the night, Manawa Nui, where have you set up? Are you just like chilling in your room?
Do I have my own room?
Yes, each of you has their own guest room.
Hmm. You know what? I think I'm too restless to sleep. I'm gonna kind of poke around my room.
Okay.
Is there anything to look at in my room, or is it just like a bed, nightstand, and
It's not too interesting. You probably grabbed some of the books out of the living area though, and brought them in
Oh,
with you.
well, I'm going to read those if I can read.
All right. So, uh, yeah, you are reading and you are doing actually a rather admirable job. You don't recognize the language that these were written in, but you did get the fox to read you the first couple of pages, and you're starting to put together the connections between these different symbols and the sounds that they represent, and you're very slowly going like, this is Bob. This is Sam. This is Bob and Sam. Bob and Sam like to dig. They dig deep. Dig, Bob, dig. um, and you're slowly starting to put some of this together and actually decipher this strange language that you're seeing before you when there is a gentle tapping on your door.
Like too gentle for an old man to hear.
No, you can make it out. You hear it.
All right. Somebody tapping at my chamber door. It's only the wind. No. I'm gonna shamble out. Well, am I? You said I couldn't fit in the bed, right?
Not even close. You're
Okay,
too
so
small.
I'm probably just sitting on the bed, so I'm gonna stand up and walk over to the door and open the door. And go, who is this?
So you look out and it's Sammy. And you pretty quickly note that similar to the time when she had visited you after you had washed up on Outset Isle, um, the time that she had kind of kept you down and told you to go back to sleep as you were trying to just aimlessly wander back out toward your boat. That she looks different than normal. Just kind of the eyes. She doesn't have that same timid look that she normally does. The eyes are much sharper and colder.
Good.
She says, figured you would still be awake. After all, you only sleep what, 4 hours a night?
Oh, what makes you say that?
Well, you've been like that since you were a child. I know you try to hide it, always pretending to be asleep whenever you're with other people, but most of the time you're just there with your eyes open, lost in your own thoughts. And that does accurately reflect like you don't remember much of your childhood at this point, but certainly
Mhm.
what you can remember since then. Yeah, you don't need much sleep. Um, roughly about half of what anyone else seems to need.
Hmm. Hmm. Listen, young lady. I don't know how you know things as you go, but I'm fairly certain that you were not around when I was a child. Do I even know I'm old, or like, do I just exist?
You know that you're very old. So if you
Okay.
remember from last time, best you can piece together your memories is you remember falling
Hmm.
into the spirit world. You don't remember exactly why you decided to do that. I don't think anyone knows quite why you decided to do that.
Don't worry about it.
But you remember falling into the spirit world, and you remember the sound of bells quite prominently where you ended up. You remember being trapped but escaping. You remember wandering for some time and eventually ending up in a labyrinth somewhere in the spirit world. And at the center of this spirit world, you met someone. You don't remember, or not at the center of the spirit world, at the center of the labyrinth. You remember meeting someone. You also remember at some point around that time, you became cursed so that you are aging rapidly. And then you remember spending what felt like an eternity attempting to escape the labyrinth before finally wandering out an old man. And at some point between going into the labyrinth and coming out of it, you devised, or someone gave you this plan, you're not sure which, of returning from a different entrance, making it back to where you came in, and taking advantage of weird, timey-wimey spirit world stuff to stop yourself before you can get lost and become cursed and old.
That's right. All right, but I know I'm okay. Cool.
And you have
So,
vague memories. They're very cloudy, but you do have vague memories of your time before falling in. All of the faces of your current companions you recognize. So you have seen them before. You know that you knew them, and
hmm.
that you were close to them and were with them a lot. But you don't have very clear memories of that time before entering the spirit world.
Hmm.
And
All
so
right, so I'm
then
just gonna.
Sammy looks at the book you still have clutched in your hand and just kind of snickers. Oh, well, I suppose it makes sense you would need to start with the basics. If you'd like, I can help you with one of the more difficult books. And she points to a probably like a young adult novel or something.
Well, it's not too much trouble. I know you youngins need your sleep.
Oh, well, don't worry about me. I'll be fine. And so then she also sits down on the bed, and somehow you have no idea how Sammy would know how to read, but she does at a much higher level than you, and
Huh.
very quickly starts just reading it out the first few paragraphs, and then starts trying to explain it to you. like the grammar and all that. Alrighty, so PPOP, you are curled up in your bed very comfortably and drift off almost immediately. And you find yourself in a dream. And you look around you. You seem to half know that you're in a dream. One of those where you can't quite disbelieve anything, but you're aware that things are odd. And you look around and you see the plant life near you. It seems to dwarf you in a way that is no longer the case. But you remember when you were very young, maybe 4 or 5, still a little bit of a toddler, which I don't know, maybe younger. Anna, what are toddlers? Is that like 3 and 4?
Yeah, that'd be like 2 to, I guess kind of up to 4. 4 is like a push. But it's like just walking, which happens usually around 1 to 1.5 to about 3 or 4-ish.
Okay. Yeah, I'm terrible at ages, so yeah, so you're a toddler. We'll just go with that. Somewhere in that range. And you're still kind of roughly toddling about, not able to keep your balance or move the way that you're used to. And after a few minutes of just kind of wandering through the forested area around you, it looks very much like Outset Isle, the way that you remember it as a child. Everything's large, shadows are darker, and everything is strange and wondrous and new. And you come toddling out into a clearing, the sun shining down warmly from above, the sweet smell of grass just permeating the air. And you see in front of you 2 men who you immediately recognize.
Loki.
Yes, 2 Lokis. But no, you see 2 men. One of them is your father, doing the island equivalent of standing somewhat bored looking, smoking a cigarette. And Loki on the other side. And they kind of see you, and they come within about 15-20 feet of you, and they both kneel down. They're spread. There's probably about 10 feet between the 2 of them, and they both start calling to you. And your father is just leaning down and just being like, "PPOP, come over here. You want to come to your old pops." But then you see Loki, and he has a bright, glittering object in his hands, which he is passing back and forth across his knuckles in a mesmerizing fashion. And he says, "Come here, little boy. Come on. You know you want. Don't you want to see a magic trick?"
I do want to see a magic trick.
All right, so who do you walk toward?
I go to Loki.
All right. And yeah, so you go to Loki, and you as you reach him, he puts his hand on your head and kind of pats you in a way that feels warm and familiar. And he says, good boy." And the dream kind of fades out there.
And then my dad slowly withers away and fades into nothing.
Yes, your dad slowly starts to become transparent as he begins sinking into the grass with a look of just non-caring. It's like it's not even happening to him. He just shrugs and kind of turns around as he sinks into the ground and disappears.
And then I bite Loki's hand and steal the glittering object.
Exactly.
Oh, what a dream.
Alrighty, so not Mono Akalupu. You also are having a dream. And in this one, there's someone you actually haven't thought about much in a little while. But you are sitting down by a riverside, throwing rocks, or probably by the ocean. You're sitting down on a calm day, skipping stones across the ocean with a rather diminutive figure. And at first, your instinct is, oh, it must be Palaka. But as you look over, his features somewhat blurred, but still recognizable. You see your father, who, again, you hadn't really thought about him in some time. He died about 4 or 5 years ago, at which point you would have been like, what, 9 or 8 or something?
Mm-hmm.
And you remember enjoying spending time with your father, but not really most of what you did. Your father was always a quiet and rather, like, both literally and in terms of personality, he was a small man. And for the most part, your childhood had been much more dominated by your mother and even your older brother, who were loud, boisterous personalities, and your father was always just kind of there in the background. But it feels warm and comfortable in a way that you don't remember feeling in some time, and your father just sits there quietly throwing rocks.
This is nice.
Right. Yep. And if you don't do anything, that's just kind of how the dream goes for a while. It's just kind of chill.
I think Agalubu's going to enjoy that.
All right. So, Agalubu, after a little while, you start to hear yelling from behind you. And it is the sound of a man and a woman arguing rather loudly. And you look around and you can't quite tell what it is. And you start going toward the voice, and eventually you find two stones who are sitting next to each other, yelling at each other. And you're very confused before you then wake up, and the voices are real. You were sleeping by the outside of the house, but you realize you're near to the bedroom where the fox and the bunny are. And yeah, so you can hear them arguing with raised voices. And it sounds like the bunny is generally accusing the fox of just not taking into consideration her feelings or desires, and kind of indirectly accusing him of infidelity. And the fox is not directly actually refuting any of those accusations. But yeah, so just kind of, and I know that you've been spending time with that girl at the office. What's her name? Maureen? It's no way that they have you working late every single night. Well, they might make me stay late every night. No, they don't. I've talked to your friends from where you work, and this is not normal. No one else does this. And it's not like word doesn't get around to the grapevine. It's like you don't even bother trying to hide it. You're not even trying to disguise what you're doing. Well, of course, I mean, maybe if you actually ever, would satisfy me, I wouldn't need to look outside the house for these sorts of things. And yeah, so eventually the argument just kind of continues on, and then you hear slamming doors, and then quiet for a little while.
It's a good thing I stole that knife from the bunny.
Right? Although I think she's got other knives.
Oh yeah, she has plenty of knives. She has a whole like one of those wood blocks that has little slots for the knives, full of knives. So then, go ahead.
I was just saying we should steal all the knives. No, for their own safety, you know.
Exactly. All right, and then after a couple of minutes, you actually hear footsteps near you, and coming around the corner of the house, you actually see the fox and the bunny, and they approach you, and they said, "Oh, good, you're already up." Well,
I just woke up just now. Definitely have not been awake for a while. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we saw that you had a crown with you, and we need you to decide which of us in this family wears the pants. Well, obviously, as the man of the household, I am the head of the household. Yes, and you'd certainly act as though you just do whatever you want, whenever you want. But I'm the one who actually keeps anything moving along. I cook, I clean, I keep the house running. I make more money than you do. What do? Just sit out on the porch and smoke and bring home random guests?
Agalubu's gonna look very, very uncomfortable and start kind of backing up. Well, Agalubu needs to deliberate.
Agalubu knows the word deliberate.
When Agalubu gets pressed, he gets creative.
There we go. He's like, what's that word I heard Manawanui use at one point? It sounded smart.
It's like if I can use some big words, maybe they won't realize that I'm leaving. With the knower and the seer, who Agalubu needs to talk to. I'll be right back.
All right. Well, we need your decision by morning. We'll be in our room.
Okay.
And the bunny's like, well, I will be in our room. You will be on the sofa.
Agalubu's gonna go to the room where everybody else is. They're in separate rooms, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone is in separate rooms, except Sammy is potentially, you don't know yet, but Sammy may still be in Manawanui's room.
Yeah. Agalubu is gonna go to PPOP's room.
All right.
And knock on his door. PPOP! PPOP!
PPOP is just like biting at the air and going, it's so shiny.
Loki, what?
PPOP, I need your help.
What's up?
You're sneaky and good with people.
I definitely am sneaky.
I think I have to give my crown to the bunny or the fox.
You could give me the crown.
No, they're asking about pants, and I don't know what pants are.
Well, you're wearing pants.
I think Agalubu wears butt flap.
Yeah.
Like George of the Jungle. To be fair, if any of you are wearing any like clothing, it's definitely like butt flaps.
Okay.
Pants are not invented in your tribe.
Well, then I don't know what pants are either.
No, you don't.
Pants.
But from the argument, I don't know. Even Agalubu can probably gather that they're asking who's in charge.
Yeah.
I think you should say that you have the pants crown, and neither of them deserves the pants crown until they stop bickering with each other.
Ooh. This is why you have the big brain. And sneaky. I like it. So Agalubu's gonna go and he's gonna grab the fox and go to the fox and say, we need to talk to Rabbit. I have made my decision.
Okay. Knock on the door.
He knocks on the door.
Alright. Come in.
Agalubu has made the decision, and Agalubu has realized that Agalubu wears the pants crown, and neither of you have the pants crown as long as you are arguing all the time.
Well, that won't work. We need you to make the decision, and we need you to make it tonight. Otherwise, there will be problems.
Agalubu's confused. What type of problems are we talking about? You guys seem to have enough problems already.
So the rabbit kind of just like chuckles wryly and says, "Well, you're not wrong about that, but unfortunately, we do need you to make a decision."
Is this a question of who Agalubu is more scared of? Because that's an easy question.
This is a question of who you think should be in charge. Who do you think is the better leader? Who do you think should have the responsibility of running this household? And the fox, looking slightly more serious than normal, and says, "Well, yes, that's part of it."
Well, Agalubu needs to know what the other part is.
Well, unfortunately, I don't think we can actually tell you, the rabbit says. It's spirit world stuff, I guess, would be the best way to put it.
Meanwhile, Peepiopi is slithering along the walls and ceiling and eavesdropping on the conversation.
Alright. Listen, we need you to make a decision tonight. Otherwise, we probably won't even be here in the morning.
Well, that's definitely serious. Agalubu will be right back. And Agalubu leaves and goes to Manawanui's room. Knock, knock, knock. Knock, knock, knock. Manawanui!
And Sammy is still in there reading to you. She's just gotten to the good part. The main characters have arrived in Detroit, and Ra is showing them about how great barbecue is. I think it was Ra. I don't remember. It's been a long time since I read that book.
It was Ra. It was Ra. While they were in Memphis.
Memphis.
Or, not Ra. The Thoth. It was Thoth.
Ah.
You guys say the names of Egyptian gods, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. It's a one of the Rick Riordan series. He does like these young adult novels based off of like gods being real in the real world, and they're about like the demigod children of these gods generally.
That's interesting.
Anyway,
You never read Percy Jackson? My goodness.
I have not, unfortunately.
That is unfortunate.
It is. They're very, very entertaining.
Some people say this is worse, but I saw the movie.
Yeah, no, that's definitely the worst.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I'm so enwrapped. That's why I'm so drawn to this story.
Manawanui!
I've never heard it. Oh, come on!
I need your spirit knowledge.
What do you want?
So the rabbit and the fox, they need me to choose one of them to be in charge and wear the pants crown. And I tried to use sneaky, and sneaky didn't work. And if I don't make a decision, nobody's going to exist in the morning.
What?
Yeah, that's what they said.
All right, and as you're saying this, you can see the first lights of dawn starting to come up over the horizon.
I need to know. It seems like a big deal.
One or two off.
Two.
Alright, go tell the bunny she's in charge.
Okay. Agalubu runs, tells the bunny she's in charge.
Alright. So, the bunny says, well, I certainly think you've made the right choice. I'll need the crown. And she tilts her head forward.
PPOP drops down from the ceiling and nabs the crown.
Alright. Are you going to want to roll anything to resist that, Agalubu?
No, he's very surprised and a little bit unnerved by the entire situation.
Alright. You now have the crown, PPOP.
Haha! I have the pants crown.
Fox says, yes, give it to me! I'm open.
You need to figure it out between yourselves.
Alright, so you're saying that, and just then a rooster crows off somewhere in the distance as the glowing mushrooms light up, rather similar to the way that a sunrise would work. And you all suddenly find yourselves very sleepy. And you open your eyes to find yourselves more or less in terms of the space around the house where you set yourselves up to sleep, except looking around, the house is no longer there. You are all actually either outside of or near to a cave that the house had been built into, because it was partly built into the mountain. Now it's simply a cave. Your beds are merely piles of vegetation and straw. PPOP, you find in your hands an object that looks similar to the crown. However, it seems to be much softer, and it seems to be made of some sort of bark or leaves that are pigmented bright yellow. Out of character, it's cardboard. And if you check for the knife that you stole, you now find in its place merely a reed, like you would find in a river.
Oh man.
And yeah, all of you start waking up. Agalubu, you no longer have the crown. And you look around, and they're looking up at you, accusatorily, looking up at all of you. You see a perfectly normal bunny and fox. And then the fox, after looking at you accusatorily for a few seconds, suddenly looks at the rabbit and growls. The rabbit notices and immediately takes off into the bush, and the fox gives chase.
Well, looks like the fox is wearing the pants after all.
Could you not just crown one of them?
I was trying, but then sneaky PPOP took it.
Shiny.
Manawanui.
Now it's not shiny.
Manawanui, the thing that had been a book is now just a stack of leaves. Just normal leaves.
And while I'll never know what happened.
Sammy just blinks as she's coming out of her stupor and just what happened?
Why don't you ask those two?
Nobody. They don't exist anymore.
I got the crown, and I put the cardboard crown on my head.
It visibly wilts. It's wet. If you remember, it was washed. It's just wet cardboard.
I'm the king of the castle. You are my subjects.
Agalubu is no one's subject. What is that?
It means you must do what I say.
But Agalubu beat you up.
Good point.
At this point, Ka comes kind of yawning and comes out of the undergrowth nearby and says, looking around, I suspected something like this might happen.
Something like what?
Well,
What happened?
well, you see, in the spirit world, certain spirits have enough strength to affect things around them. Like this. And he kind of points over to a tree, and you see the tree. Well, I guess aren't trees, they're giant mushrooms. He looks over at a rock, and you see the rock slowly start to shape itself into a large, angry, scowling face, so like an Easter Island head. I suppose those spirits must have been rather low on. I don't know how to describe it so you would understand, but energy, I suppose. And they must have asked for some kind of gift, which was not given to them.
Well, they didn't deserve it.
Yes, that is certainly a viable way to look at this. Well, shall we continue on our journey?
Let's go.
Suppose.
All right.
Vanawanu is still kind of grumpy about not being able to finish the story.
Yeah. Now we
Being
still have.
so.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, having been so rudely interrupted by the disappearance of everything.
Right. We still have some way to go, so let's have breakfast and be on our way. Alright. Sadly, all the food in the house is also gone.
What about Agalupu's talking rocks?
Agalubu's talking rocks seem to still be talking rocks. They're still there.
Good. I cared more about them than the fox and the bunny.
But what about the golden crown?
Maybe if I give the crown to the rocks, it will give them more energy.
Alright, so meal is relatively easily prepared out of the rations that you brought down with you. And you continue on your way for some hours. And eventually you are going through an area that's much more rocky than anything you've been through so far. Crags and cliffs all over the place, large boulders, and some ways off to the side of the path you see a cave. And you can hear sounds coming out of the cave that sound like very loud stomach growling. Like it's clearly someone who's very hungry inside the cave.
Let's not go in there.
And you've been hearing the echoes of these stomach growls for some time as you've been traveling through this canyon.
Agalubu is going to hide the meats.
Huh? What did you say?
Agalubu is going to hide the meats.
So the path goes some probably 20 feet away from the cave entrance, but you will need to go past it to continue forward. Unless you want to scale a cliff.
I say we send the PPOP chap forward to see if there's anything off about the path.
Okay, I'll scout ahead.
All right.
Good bet.
So, are you gonna stealth scout, or are you just kind of perception scouting?
I'm gonna stealth scout because I'm afraid of hungry cave monsters.
All right. Let's get a stealth roll.
Stealth. Roll. 14.
All right. Let's see if that's good enough. Should have rolled this first, but whatever. I'm just not that smart, I guess. All right, so you are doing your best to be stealthy as you approach the cave entrance. However, as you're getting a little closer, trying to keep yourself plastered back against the cliff edge, you unsettle some rocks, which go tinkling down in front of you. And the hunger pangs, the sound of hunger pangs continue. But you do hear a voice from inside the cave, and it's a very pitiful sounding voice, much like Manawanui's. Anyway, but yeah, you hear a rather pitiful sounding voice. It's just like, "Oh, I'm so hungry, but is someone out there? Don't come any closer. Don't come in here. Oh,
Best do what he says.
What's wrong in there?
I'm so hungry."
How do I know you won't eat me?
I don't want to eat you. Just don't come any closer to the cave.
Okay, can I get you some food then?
No, that probably wouldn't be probably wouldn't be a good idea. Just go quickly.
Okay, goodbye.
All right. So you navigate everyone as far away from the cave as possible and pass across it. And
Quick question.
yeah.
When you say like Manawanui, does it sound like Manawanui?
No. I was
Okay.
just making fun of your old man voice.
I figured, but I just wanted to make sure.
No, that is a very good question. But yeah, so you guys hurry past it. As you are going past it, continues to warn you just to stay away, to keep going, don't look back. Do you all do so?
Yup.
All right. So you.
Agalubu.
Agalubu's hiding his
back?
meats.
Huh?
Oh, Agalubu's too busy hiding his meats.
Hey,
I
that butt flap isn't doing too much to hide your hams. I'm just saying.
Don't worry, it just looks like he's got really big booty cheeks.
All right, so you guys make it past. No one turns back to look, and as you continue through the cave, you do still hear the grumbles of hunger pangs echoing down the canyon on your way out as well. And you exit that area back into a more verdant area, so to speak, back to much more vegetation. Again, it's very strange vegetation. It all looks like corals and seaweeds and other weird bulbous shapes. Much of it glows. All of it sways gently back and forth as if there were some invisible current around you, even when the wind is completely still. And you continue on for some time before you see a figure dressed in rags sitting by the side of the road with a small cart. Kind of those hand-drawn carts that you grab the handles on either side and just like pull it forward. One of those, like a rickshaw almost. And as you turn the corner and see him, he also sees you, and you see him spring up almost instantly and begin walking in your direction. And he's grabbed his coat and is kind of like holding it around himself. And he goes, travelers, welcome, welcome. My name is Bibi, and I am here as a representative of Bibi's Caravan of Wonders. In fact, I am the Bibi of Bibi's Caravan of Wonders. Would you like, and he takes his hands that he's been holding around himself as he's been kind of like grabbing his clothing, pulling it around almost like he's cold, and instead swings it out. And luckily he is not flashing you, but pretty close. He's wearing like basically like a three-way wrap to cover, one of those, like, they look like a diaper. You know what I'm talking about.
I think so.
Yeah, and in nothing else, he's just super skinny now that you can see him, wrinkled, old, and yet spry for his age. And then hanging from the inside of his garments, up and down on either side, are glittering, sparkling rings with large gems set into them. It's like, can I interest you in some wizard rings?
Ooh, tiny.
Stay back, Agalubu. I don't trust. They were so magical. Why is he in such a pitiable state?
Oh, I'm not.
Agalubu, you gotta think.
Why would you
better
come?
than you are?
Huh?
He's doing better than you are, old man.
Fine. Go touch the rings.
Quite right. And he does a little tap dance. See? Spry as the day I was born. Well, probably more so than that. And I don't know why you would consider me in a pitiable state, here traveling the world, seeing the sights, doing exactly what I want to do. I feel like that's the dream for anyone. Besides, don't you want amazing magical powers?
Agalubu likes magic.
Yes. Would you like one? Perhaps two? Even three? They're free!
And Agalubu, take the nice man's free magical rings.
What different colors are there?
All kinds of colors, the entire gamut. Many of them multicolored and just shining out like the rainbow.
Agalubu is gonna look for one that's like kind of red and purple.
All right, you find that easily enough. You find one. Are you looking for like one large gem, multiple gems?
Kind of one large gem. Well, not like too large. Like he wants to be practical with it, but
None of these are practical. All of these are large and gaudy looking.
Okay. Well, then he'll take the largest red and purple one that he can find.
All right, so you find one that has a gem, a large round gem that's like a three-dimensional yin-yang sign of red and purple.
Ooh.
He goes, excellent choice. Here, he takes it off of his jacket and holds it out. Just hold out whichever finger you'd like me to place it upon.
And Agalubu just hold it in his hand.
Oh, yes, of course, it's yours. It's all yours. And he hands it to you.
Well,
However, you will need to wear it for it to work. If you don't put it on, nothing will happen.
What magic does this ring have?
Well, it doesn't activate until I say so, and you all must choose at once. I can only do the activation once per day. So you see, until all of you have decided and what you want and are wearing them, I can't do anything. Right now, it's more or less useless.
Agalubu's gonna just keep holding it and put it in his pouch.
So, continuing to hold out his clothing so that you all can see the glittering and shining looks. He actually no. He goes over to his cart and he kind of kicks at the thing, and it flips out this stool, which lands feet first onto the ground. And then with a flourish, he takes his jacket off, swings it over his head, and places it down so that it's now a tablecloth draping over the top and the sides of these rings. Well, anyone else? He says, gesturing toward the new display.
Tell me, frog man. What happens once we all put on these rings and you activate them?
Well, once that happens, you will be able to use wondrous magical powers.
Well, considering I can already do that, I think I'll be a hard pass for me.
Very well, if you're already a wizard, I suppose wizard rings are less tempting.
Why don't you activate your magic power? Oh shoot! Can you guys hear me?
Did your
No.
phone die?
I can currently still hear you. But yeah, must be coming over Anna's mic because I don't see you on Discord anymore.
Hello?
Still just Anna. There we go.
Cool. Sorry
Welcome
about
back.
that. Why don't you activate that ring and then stay the night so if more people want your rings, you can sell them. Well, you're not selling them, so I guess you can give them to us tomorrow.
Well, if you can find me again tomorrow, then you're welcome to it. I travel far and wide, and I greatly doubt I'll see you again. I very rarely see the same place twice, after all.
If you travel,
well, that place is a rather tricky one. I've avoided going in, however, I've looked from the outside and just peeked around a bit. And if you really wanted to get there, he points off to the west. Just head straight there, or I suppose as straight as you can without wings. Though it looks like you're some ways on toward getting wings of your own, aren't you?
Do any of your rings give us wings?
Hard to say, I don't believe so, but you never know. You could get lucky.
There one that's red and shaped like a bowl.
Yes, there is a giant. It looks like a class ring, except even bigger, and it just has a giant like bowl-shaped gem, like cut into it.
tell me, Mr. Fellow. I forgot his name. BB?
Yes, BB!
What do you get from giving these out for free?
Well, I have more than I could ever need. I simply enjoy seeing the looks of joy upon people's faces. Well, I have already rested quite enough. I was just taking a quick nap there when you caught me. I must be going along soon, so unless anyone else would like one, I'll have to say adieu.
I'll take that green one.
Come on.
Here you are. This is just a thought, so if you don't want it to be like this, let me know. But I think it's one of those where it's the ring that kind of goes over your whole finger and makes like a claw at the end, and then it's got like a little chain that goes back and goes on your fingers. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do know what you're talking about. Those are cool.
And then it is set across the entire thing. It's gold, and then set across it are many green gems.
I take it with the tip of my knife and don't touch it.
Very well. As everyone seems to have made their choices, would you like me to activate them? As I said, they won't do anything whatsoever if I don't.
Agalubu's
Screw
gonna
it.
do it.
I want some magic powers.
Alright, so you put your rings on.
Mhm.
Yes.
Alright, and you go. And he takes out an old stick from his cart and says, very well, tap, 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 alakazam! And poof, a bright flash of light goes off. And as you're all blinking, your vision slowly returning. By the time you can see once again, the man, his cart, and everything else seems to have disappeared without a trace. And these rings are now on your fingers, and you can see, you can feel as though you could cast Prestidigitation once a day.
Ooh.
Chosen after all.
Is that the one that like does seasoning?
Yep.
I think this one that cooks, right? You can cook
Oh yeah.
things and like.
They added a ton. Prestidigitation used to be kind of boring, where all you could do is like make shiny lights to be like, look at this, you simple backwoodsman who've never, seen magic before. I'm a special. But now it actually does a bunch of useful stuff.
Nice. Agalubu is very excited to make steak.
There you go. Prestidigitation. You can, the simplest magic does your bidding. You can perform a simple magical effect as long as you sustain the spell. Each time you sustain the spell, you can choose one of 4 options. Cook, cool, warm, or flavor 1 pound of non-living material. Slowly lift an unattended object of light bulk or less 1 foot off the ground. Create a temporary object of negligible bulk made of congealed magical substance. The object looks crude and artificial and is extremely fragile. It can't be used as a tool, weapon, or spell component. Or tidy. Color, clean, or soil an object of light bulk or less. You can affect an object of 1 bulk with 10 rounds of concentration and a larger object with 1 minute per bulk.
Nice.
Please.
So is that what we both got?
What?
Is that what we all got?
Those of you who took rings, yes, you are able to cast Prestidigitation once per day. However, do you try to take them off?
No, mine's cool as hell.
Alright.
Nah, Agalubu doesn't think about it yet.
Okay.
Well,
Also,
turn into finches or cardboard crowns, so I say we head west.
I try and cast Prestidigitation on Agalubu's brain to make him smarter.
It doesn't work. Agalubu's head just feels slightly warm. Alright, also, rewinding back a ways. Actually, we'll go ahead and retcon even why you failed at your stealth, PPOP. So that shortly after waking up the morning in the cave, you started to feel as though you were being watched. And before long, partway through breakfast, the feeling of a presence directly behind you becomes extremely strong, and you turn around and you see a translucent figure who you recognize rather quickly as being your grandfather, who died some 4-ish years before. But rather than the more jovial look he normally had, he seems to look rather stern. And he points a bony finger at you and he goes, "Shame! Shame!" And then hits you right between the eyes with a stick.
Well, I'm assuming I deserved that, but wish you would have told me why.
Ka goes, "Well, I suppose you must have broken a kapu at some point."
Kapu schmapu.
Shame! Thwack, right between the eyes.
Okay, I get it.
And he kind of just stares at you, and he doesn't do anything for a while. But then, as soon as you decide he's done, and you go back to eating and let your guard down, you hear "Shame!" Thwack! And that has been continuing all day.
What do you want, old man?
Shame! Thwack!
Ugh. This is getting old quickly.
Yes, speaking to him is unlikely to do much. It doesn't seem to actually be the spirit of your grandfather, but a projection sent here to punish you. shame! And that is why you were noticed when you tried to sneak up to the cave. Is you were doing your best to sneak when suddenly just shame! Thwack!
Oh.
Alright, now
I'm
we
gonna
catch back
try
up.
to sit down to meditate and pray to the spirits of the forest to get rid of this pain in my ass.
Alright, so you sit down and meditate, and for the first time all day, you don't feel as though the instant you let your guard down, the shame and the stick came out. And after a little while, you dare to open one eye, and you do see the figure there sitting across from you, also meditating. And he just kind of looks at you and winks and smiles, and then slowly fades away.
Whew! Thought that was never gonna end.
All right, so after the wizard, you continue along your way, and rather oddly, as you travel along, you only tickles the very back of your mind, as it seems to happen very gradually. But it feels as though the landscape and the vegetation around you is slowly starting to shrink down to a smaller size. But like I said, it's just barely tickling the back of your minds at this point. And so you continue on for some ways when you come to a sheer cliff made out of smooth, dark rock. It reminds you somewhat of the rock of the Papaya Island above you. Or Papaya Island. No, it was just Papaya Island. That was it. And you see in the face of the rock a door very similar to the ones in the rabbit and fox's house. Just a perfectly rectangular doorknob on one side. It appears to be the only way forward. Also, I should clarify, are you guys completely diverting toward the the labyrinth? Because that is not the direction that Ka has been leading you.
Yeah, we thought we were not going to the labyrinth.
Yeah, I guess we'll just follow Ka. I just assumed that Ka would be following us if we're going the wrong way.
Ka is taking you to the clock tower. Remember? Not the labyrinth. The labyrinth is, you are pretty sure, not a good place.
That's right. But if we kill the witch, wouldn't my curse be broken?
Or it would just be there forever.
Yeah, maybe.
Or we'd all just die.
Yeah, would you even be able to get to the center of the labyrinth before you aged to death?
Maybe.
Remember, you're aging a year every day. Now, it's not, you're elven, so you're not, like, actually dying as quickly as a human would with that curse. If you were a human, you would have been dead hundreds of years ago.
Or hundreds of days.
Exactly.
Alright. No. So yeah, we're going to the clock tower.
Alright. So yes, you come to this wall, and there's a door in front of you, and it seems to be the only way through.
Well, one said, onwards. Let's go through the door.
Alright, you approach the door, and you see that it has a face, but oddly no doorknob.
I'm gonna push on the door.
Alright, you press on the door, and you can feel kind of like the squishy cheeks as you press into its cheeks, and you hear it goes, ooh, and you see the eyes open up, and he looks at you and goes, oh, You woke me
Oh,
up.
excuse me, good door. How do I get through?
Well, aren't you familiar with doors? You open, and then you
How
walk
do I
through.
how do I open you door?
Hmm. Well, I suppose you could turn the doorknob if it were there, but that doesn't look like an option now, does it?
Oh, where the doorknob
And you can see a
is?
spot where a doorknob should be. Oh, hidden. It's far too much work to let people through, so I tossed it away so nobody could open me anymore and disturb my rest.
Well, I'm afraid, my good door, I can't go anywhere until I get through.
Doesn't somebody have a spell that can just open things?
Oh, is that me? Let me check.
Yeah, not that you have currently set up for the day.
I don't prepare spells.
All right, you are not a wizard. I keep forgetting.
I'm special.
All right, then yeah, you
No,
don't.
I don't.
Was that one of our other games that somebody has a spell that can just open things?
I mean, there is a spell for just opening doors, so probably.
Hmm. Hmm. I'm going to cast charm on the door.
Does
Let's
charm
see.
affect constructs?
I don't know. To the target.
I don't even see. Oh, there it is. Well, that's interesting. On a critical success, the target is unaffected and aware you tried to charm it.
That's
Oh,
kind of
this is
funny.
I see. This is their roll. Okay, if they critically succeed at the resistance, the will save,
Oh,
then that happens. That makes more sense.
yeah. I was looking at the critical failure too. I was like, that doesn't even make sense.
All right, so yes, you can roll this.
Alrighty.
Oh no, it's just DC 18. You don't roll anything.
Well, what? Okay.
All right. Well, it succeeded.
Dang. Whatever. Screw you,
So
door.
on a failure, the target's attitude becomes friendly toward you. If it was friendly, it becomes helpful. Oh no, this is the him. He succeeded. I keep reading this backward. The target is unaffected but thinks your spell was something harmless instead of charm. So, yes. I don't know what you're doing there, but it's making me kind of sleepy.
Abe is indisposed.
All right, does someone else want to talk to the door then?
8:30 to 5:11.
Would PPOP like to talk to the door?
Door open.
Oh, can't be bothered.
Well, what if I don't know.
You want to try and jimmy it through the knob hole? Because there is a spot where the doorknob should be.
I'm back now.
Alright, cool.
What if we construct a doorknob?
Are you asking the door that?
Yes.
Well, I guess you would have, done something kind of boring. I'm going back to sleep now. And you see his eyes flutter closed. Begins to
I'm
snore
gonna
softly.
poke the door before he goes back to sleep.
You're gonna bonk him? Is that what you said?
Yeah. I said poke, but I could also bonk, I guess.
Alright, so you poke at the door. He goes, oh, it's still just you guys. What do you need?
Yeah. I need that doorknob, Mr. Door, and I told you I cannot leave until I get through this door.
I threw it somewhere.
Subsequently, you can't sleep.
Oh, that's actually kind of a good point. I hadn't thought about that. Oh, too bad I threw that doorknob away.
Where did you throw it?
Oh, that way. And he kind of just looks off, generally in front of him.
It's so helpful.
Could you away that book?
He starts falling back asleep again.
What the heck, Cordelia? What is your problem? My dog's trying to kill herself.
While they're doing that, Agalubu is just gonna kind of be looking the directions that the door said he threw the doorknob.
Alright, let's get a perception check.
Is that just a D20?
Plus your perception.
+7.
7. Seven.
You could also do a bashing.
Hey, I got a critical success.
Noise.
Nat 20.
Alright, so yeah, you, as soon as you start looking around, you almost immediately spot the glimmer of some sort of bronze material. Not that you know what bronze is. Sticking up through some of the foliage. Or not the foliage, the undergrowth. And you grab it, and you do indeed have a knobby object.
I'm gonna bring it back to the door.
Alright. The door is asleep.
I'm just gonna put it in the hole, I guess.
Did Akalupu figure out how doors worked?
I mean, he went through the doors in the other house, so I think he probably figured it out.
Alright, so it does in fact slot easily into the spot. And you turn it, and the door is easy enough to open at this point. And
Cool.
so, yeah, the door kind of slings open, and he goes, oh, it's still just you guys. You know, you're right. It's easier to just let people through. Anyway, ta-ta.
What a strange door.
Gonna mumble as I walk through the door about how stupid doors are and how this door should just, not exist and all that stuff.
Alright, you were the last one through the door, and as you are just passing through, the door manages to hit you where the Lord split you. As it closes itself.
Why
And looking back, you don't even see a doorway. Just sheer stone. But you are on the other side now.
Well, we should move onward. Put this door behind us.
Alrighty. So, you guys, once again, are continuing on. And that strange sensation as though everything around you were shrinking continues. And then eventually you come across an area where there is a body of water. And looking around you, you see Ka. He now looks like the size of an actual axolotl. And he just looks up and goes, "Well, it's time to go through here." And you see him gesture toward a tiny door, far too small for you to fit through.
Hmm. Seems will be a bit of a tight squeeze.
Oh yeah, it's like the size. It's at this point compared to you, it's about the size of like you could barely even fit your foot through. Like it's like a mouse hole, like a Tom and Jerry cartoon mouse hole.
Ah. And how are we supposed to get through that?
And I suppose you'll need to go back to your normal size. And looking around you, you do now notice that everything is tiny. Like, if you hadn't already, at this point, it's very obvious.
Hi. Mr. Do I know his name is Ka? I forgot if he knew his name.
He introduced himself by name.
Okay. Mr. Ka,
Yes?
how are we supposed to get back to our regular size?
Well, I suppose do the opposite of what you just did. Growing rather large over the last few hours. You could also try eating some of that mushroom over there. And he points to a large, colorful mushroom. Now, you're huge, so to you it still looks pretty small, like the size of a shiitake mushroom.
Why don't, Agalubu, look, why don't you go eat some of that mushroom?
Agalubu's starting to not trust this old man.
I've ever led you wrong.
She's tried to multiple times.
It's all ended up for your good.
Agalubu's gonna go eat the mushroom.
Huh?
Alright,
Agalubu's gonna go eat
so as you are coming up to the mushroom, he says, "But be careful. You don't want to become too small. Eat about this much," and he holds out his hands to indicate a size.
Agalubu is going to like put his fingers up to it. You know, like when you're measuring something with your fingers.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna like put his fingers up so that he can like measure it and then like move it over to the mushroom. Trying to hold his fingers at the same distance apart.
Yeah. Makes sense. Alright. I would like either an what makes sense? Either crafting or nature roll.
Maybe could you roll that for me?
I can.
Alright, I guess Cordelia, you can clean that up.
Crafting or nature, you said?
Yeah.
Actually, no, that's gross.
They're
That's
both
weird.
at +5, so we'll do crafting. A 17.
Alright. So you eat it and you immediately feel everything around you growing back to roughly the same size.
When you say roughly the same size, is it like bigger or smaller?
It's very hard to tell without something you're familiar with to measure against.
Okay.
Having seen Akalupu not die, Mano Anui is going to also eat the mushroom.
Alright, let's get either a crafting or nature roll for Mono Anui.
We will do a fudge. I got a 9.
Nice. All right, let's see what Sammy gets. All right, Sammy got a 24.
Yeah.
So, roll me 1d2, Manawanui.
A 1d2. Alrighty.
And you said you got a 9?
I did.
All right.
I got a 1.
All right. So you feel yourself also shrinking to sort of the same size. We'll resolve it after we get PPOP. Unless PPOP wants to be giant forever.
Giant PPOP.
No, I'll go for it.
All right, crafting or nature.
Da-da-da. 13.
And also roll me a d2.
/R1D2. What happened?
All right, also a 1. Okay. So you all feel yourselves shrinking down, and in the end, you find Agalubu, looking at Ka and Sammy, you feel like you're about the size as you used to be. Sammy also seems about the same, and to have returned to normal. However, Manawa Nui, you are now about 3 feet tall. And PPOP, you are a little bit taller than him, but definitely shorter than you used to be.
Cool, let's go again.
Well, unfortunately, the effects of the mushroom only work once.
I guess I'm a different type of elf now.
Well, you're just a tiny old man now.
Basically.
Agalupu is like, ooh, football. All right, so the door now opens easily, and it's kind of a trap door kind of thing. It's not like a vertical door, and underneath it you can see just darkness and water. Actually, there's not that. It's not that dark. There's like glowing, I don't know, seaweedy stuff in there. So it's not dark, but you do see just water continuing on until you can't lose sight of it. And so Ka says, well, let's go. Should be just about 15 minutes to the other side. And he makes as though to head in and start swimming off.
Well, I forgot what I said before I jumped in the volcano, but I'm gonna say that and jump in.
All right. Are you holding your breath?
I am holding my breath.
All right. You are now in the water holding your breath, trying to swim.
Oh, I think we lost Agalubu. Hold on.
What?
Awesome.
All right. So, Manawanui has disappeared into the water.
I
Manawanui,
will
let's get
follow also.
All right. You're now both in the water. You still
Can we
see
see
no end.
Ka?
Ka is kind of like stopped by the edge. There's only one way to go though, but the channel just seems to continue on. And if you swim some ways, you find yourself pretty quickly running out of air and don't see any sign of this tunnel ending.
Wait, was Ka not in the water?
Yeah, I thought Ka jumped
into
in.
the water yet. No, Ka he moved toward the water. He has not gone in yet. He's still
Oh.
by the entrance.
Oh, well, then Agalubu wouldn't have jumped in. I thought he was in.
I don't know. He still jumped in.
Well, are you swimming forward?
I mean, is the water moving?
No, the water is perfectly still.
Oh, well, I'm gonna tread water and look up at the hole. Is there like anywhere I can stand or the hole?
So you're going back to the entrance and surfacing?
I guess. Wait, yeah, how is it? So is it like a big drop into the water, or is it like you get into the water?
No, it's pretty much like there's a trap door, and then within less than a foot of that trap door is water. Or I guess it's more like a cellar door. It's more like a cellar door. It's at an angle. And then it's just a tunnel of water going off into the distance. And it's completely full. There's no air. This is just all submerged. You go under the water, and then you have to swim through an underwater tunnel.
All right, well, I'm gonna do that.
All right, so you swim for some ways. Holding your breath is already becoming difficult, and you continue to see no end in sight.
I'm a. So I don't know if this matters, but I'm a water elemental.
Oh, you're I'm always forget the name of it. Your magic type.
Yes.
Sorcerer
there
type.
we go.
All right. Well, it should say what you get from it, if you get anything that would help you.
Let me tell you, it's loading.
You have blood magic.
Huh?
You have blood magic. When casting a bloodline spell, +1 status to intimidate, or 1 for 1 round, or deal 1 bludgeoning per level of fire spell.
But it's not a fire.
Let's see. Elemental, water. Yeah, your water elemental is not giving you anything that would help you.
I can't like breathe underwater or nothing.
Nope.
Okay, well then I guess I'm just gonna keep swimming harder.
Alright, you continue on. You do remember that Ka said it was like a 15-minute tunnel.
What?
Yes, he said it's about 15 minutes to the other side.
Wait, I can't hold my breath for 15 minutes.
No, you can't.
Can I go back?
You might want to, unless you would like to die.
I'm gonna turn around. Like, guys, I just remembered this is a 15-minute tunnel. I got smaller lungs than I had before, so.
Alright, so spluttering and flopping like a dying fish, Manawa Nui comes back to the surface after about a minute and a half. Nearly dead, barely able to drag himself back out of the water and onto ground.
It's really far.
Yes, I believe I said it was about 15 minutes.
I'm just gonna cough and let other people do the talking.
Well, let's go.
Small problem, Mr. X level. Whatever that is.
Does PPOP still have his horn?
Yeah. The conch?
No, I lost it when we fell into the whirlpool, right?
No, you dropped it, but you got it after you landed. You just weren't able to like get to it as you were falling in through the water.
Okay, but that only gives us 1 minute of breathing.
But you can activate it as many times as you want.
I was gonna say spam it, yeah. Just keep spamming that son of a gun.
Yes, I believe your father's gift could help you here.
Okay, my bad, y'all. I should have thought of this.
Wait.
I'm gonna like cough up some water and look at PPOP.
Did he just say his father's gift?
Yeah, didn't his father give it to him?
Does Agalubu say that?
Agalubu's gonna think it. Because Agalubu's been wondering about that for a
Molly, I knew
while.
it, I guess is just slow. I forgot who had given it.
I don't even remember who gave it to me, so y'all are ahead of me.
It was given to you by Loki as a parting gift before
Oh.
you left the island.
That explains the dream.
Yes. Does anyone actually say anything, or do you all just kind of like think?
Well, I don't know any better, correct?
Yeah.
Well, I guess Agalubu probably isn't socially aware enough not to be like, wait a second, but I thought Loki gave him that.
Oh yes. Right. It must have been a slip of the tongue.
Slip of the tongue. I know you too well by now, Ka. You don't slip on anything. You got sticky fingers.
Yes, that is true. Well, shall we? And he once again gestures to the water.
Agalubu's going to get in the water but have his head above the water until everybody else gets in.
Right. At this point, Ka does kind of just scuttle into the water and takes off, effortlessly swimming through.
I'm gonna grab onto his tail.
All right. Are you gonna conch shell it up before you do?
No, I'll leave them to die. Just kidding.
All right, guys, y'all are trapped. Have fun in the spirit world without a guide.
Well, Agalubu like grabs on the PPOB as soon as they start taking off.
I guess Marwa knew he was gonna grab onto Akalupu.
Join the train.
Oh, wait for me! And let's get a reflex save for Sammy to see if she can join the train.
Oh no.
And you are, I'm assuming, blowing the conch shell as you go underwater?
Yes.
Alright. Let's see, what is Sammy's reflex? +5. Okay. She barely manages to grab on the end of the train. So yeah, you guys speed through rather quickly by taking advantage of Ka's strong swimming skills.
Axolotls for life.
Exactly. And before long, you surface on the other end of it. And you now see the landscape has changed significantly. The area around you is scorched and burnt. Rivers of lava are traveling through channels around you. And off in the distance, you see, well, first you hear it, the loud clanging sound that immediately triggers Mono Anui.
Bells.
Yes, bells. Bong, bong,
The bells.
bong. And off in the distance, the source of the sound, you see a large tower with a circular surface most of the way up toward the top, with various little hands pointing in different directions.
Let's go. No time to stop.
So, we've been going for an hour and 40 minutes. Do people want to do their... So if you remember from last time, I wanted everyone to give a little story of a weird adventure that happened to you on your journey. Do you guys want to do that today and then wrap up? Or do you want to wrap up now and do those first tomorrow? Or not tomorrow, next time.
I'm good doing that today. But
How are we doing time-wise? Because I knew Jason said he had to leave.
Yeah, I got time. I could do that.
All right.
I am good, however. Then.
So, who wants to go first? What's a wacky, zany adventure you had on your way here?
So, as we were walking, we came across this one-armed little wooden fellow.
With a
Oh,
long
no.
nose?
With a long nose.
Yeah, was he dancing and singing? I've got no strings, as you can see.
No. He just had one arm, and he was in like this brightly colored clothing. And he was looking around. It's like, boy, this place doesn't really look like a forest anymore. And we stopped and asked him how we could help him, and he said he was trying to get back to some. I think it was an arm. Was it an arm?
Pretty sure so.
Oh, it was a leg. So he's hopping around, I guess. And he said he's trying to get back to this snowy place or something. But he ended up we ended up losing him in the forest of mushrooms.
He was dragged away by the trees.
He was dragged away by the mushrooms.
Alrighty. So, who wants to go next? What's another little adventure you had on your way here?
All right, so we wake up from one night, and it turns out everything is back to normal. We're back on Outset Island, except everyone that we meet is Loki. There's just Loki everywhere, and everyone's just saying Loki, 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 Loki. That's
Do
all
they-
anyone can say.
Do they also have buttons for eyes?
They could. That would be creepy.
Just Loki with button eyes.
So we're all freaking out, and we're running around trying to avoid all the Lokis. But there's no escape. Until we go to sleep, and then we wake up again, and now everybody is not Loki, but young Manawanui.
You're all like,
Um,
oh, we found you.
And old Manawanui's like, who the hell is that?
Youngly fellow.
You know, all young Manawanu, all the young
No,
Manawanuis
fail.
just parrot back whatever you say.
I like it.
And then, yeah, I'm not sure how we actually break free of the spell, but whatever spirit was kind of possessing our brains decided that it was over it and moved on, and everything was back to normal, and we have no recollection of what happened. It's just nothing. Some spirit was just messing with us for fun.
Nice, I like it. All right, Agalubu, do you have one?
Yes. But I forgot what it was, so I'm gonna come up with a new one.
That just happened to me too. I had such a great idea, and I was like, wait a minute, I don't remember.
That's all right.
Exactly.
That's all right. I had like plans for all of your dreams that night, and then we actually started the game, and the only one I could remember my plans for was like not really a dream, but Sammy coming in and bugging Manawanui. And then I was just struggling. I was like, that's why it took me so long when I was like, and PPOP, you have a dream.
Pretty coin. Double-edged coin.
So there is this one time where we step into this cave, and suddenly all of us like fall on our faces because, and we kind of like try to look around, but like our bodies aren't doing what we tell them to correctly. And as we start to kind of look around through blurry eyes, we start realizing that everybody are babies. And so we're all just kind of like sitting there, and when we try to talk, all we can do is like cry.
Is one of the babies wearing a suit and talking on a cell phone?
I mean, there is a baby that's like off in the corner doing that, and we're all very confused. But yeah, and so we end up having to like relearn how to like crawl out of the cave, and then once we like crawl out of the cave, we're back to normal.
Nice. I like it.
And then the babies get struck by lightning because it wasn't raining and they were in the cave.
Exactly. That's why you don't go in the caves, because you turn into baby.
Exactly. Alrighty, we ready to wrap up then?
Sounds good.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Then let's go ahead and let's do Agalubu first. What did Agalubu learn?
Let's see. Agalubu learned that he doesn't like being the one who has to make decisions, and that his compatriots really aren't that helpful either.
Hey, I told you who to give it to.
Yeah, I was
No.
definitely not helpful there.
Yeah, and now that knife is just turned into a reed, so.
I'm really sad about that. It was a sharp knife.
Oh yeah. Alrighty, and let's do Pipiopi next. What did Pipiopi learn?
Pipiopi learned that sometimes you gotta give stuff away in order to keep them. Because if you don't give away the shiny, then it becomes less shiny.
Yeah. Even though you got new shinies, those wizard rings are very gaudy.
Yeah, I'm worried about what happens when we try and take them off, but I'm enjoying it for now.
Oh yeah. Prestidigitation once a day, he did not lie. You can do cool magic now.
Yeah, there's always a catch, but we're too dumb to know that.
Exactly. And then Monowanui, what have you?
Monowanui learned how to read.
Not very well.
And no,
You could read a Bob book at this point. Well,
there we go. Hey, listen, those books are pretty good.
You gotta start somewhere.
yeah.
You gotta start.
Anything worth doing is worth doing poorly.
Hey, there we go.
That's true. Gotta learn to crawl before you can walk. I think that's the saying. Alrighty, well. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think it's you gotta walk before you run or something like that.
Yeah, probably, which would make more sense. Alrighty, well,
But
thanks.
you do have to. Nothing. Just continue.
Thanks everyone for joining me. I hope you had a great time, and I will see you all next time.